Mr. Craig Snell sitting shotgun with me 24/7 wherever I go. He's always my right hand. He's always we're there for each other. He's like, let's take this bitch out. Let's open her up. I'm like, I just got like a 15-minute tutorial on how to drive a boat and operate the boat. I'm not really feeling all that warm and fuzzy. I used to go on boats all the time. My grandfather, I know these seas. Sure enough, what's Craig Snell do? Anybody who knows Craig well, he only has 2 speeds, park and turbo. And we got out of the bay, and he hit turbo all the way into New Bedford in about, I don't know, 6 minutes from where I keep the boat in Marion, where
just want to make sure
George
you
has
sell
his
him a lemon.
office.
Yeah.
So heading back from New Bedford in turbo, top gear. He's like, let's see how fast this bitch will get up to.
We hit a whale.
I'm Vernon. I run the top mortgage brokerage in Massachusetts with over 20 years of experience.
I'm Craig. I've done $100 million consistently since my second full year in the business, and I'm Massachusetts' top mortgage broker. We're the Mortgage Daddies, with real advice, real stories, and real results.
Let's get going.
All right. Welcome back to Mortgage Daddies. We got George Fearons today with us. We used to be in the mortgage business. Now you're still in sales, but doing things a little different now.
Yep.
Not selling necessities anymore. You're selling hobbies.
That's right. Yeah, it's a little different, but it's all the same stuff. At the end of the day, sales is sales, right? And take care of the customers, and like you guys do. So that's my world.
Yeah, Big George's been friends with him for the last 5 or 6 years. And, one of the first things he says to me, he's like, oh, you like boats? I'm like, yeah, I like going on boats. Takes me on his boat. Fast forward, I don't know, a year into the relationship, takes me down, sells me a boat. Still have the boat. I wish I could use it more.
Yeah, everybody wishes they could use it more.
I think it's a great thing.
You can sell Vern a boat. You can sell anybody a boat. Doesn't
That's
know
right.
how to use a boat. Doesn't know anything about boats. Wanted a cheap boat. Ends up with not a cheap boat.
Yeah. We go back to the first
sure
day.
you don't want to get back into mortgages?
Go back to the first day of your boat experience.
Not me. Not me driving the boat. Hey, I got to get back to the office. I'm good. Thanks, George, for giving us a little tutorial on how to use the boat, where everything is. Mr. Craig Snell sitting shotgun with me 24/7 wherever I go. He's always my right hand. He's always we're there for each other. He's like, let's take this bitch out. Let's open her up. I'm like, I just got like a 15-minute tutorial on how to drive a boat and operate the boat. I'm not really feeling all that warm and fuzzy. I used to go on boats all the time. My grandfather, I know these seas. Sure enough, what's Craig Snell do? Anybody who knows Craig well, he only has 2 speeds, park and turbo. And we got out of the bay, and he hit turbo all the way into New Bedford in about, I don't know, 6 minutes from where I keep the boat in Marion, where
Just want to make sure
George
you
has
sell
his
him a lemon.
office.
Yeah.
So heading back from New Bedford in turbo, top gear. He's like, let's see how fast this bitch will get up to.
We hit a whale.
Or an object that hasn't moved over the last 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
They must have changed.
Yeah. Vern calls me and says,
Global warming.
The boat's broken, George. You sold me a bad boat. I go, Vern. I go, what happened? He goes, well, we took off. I let Craig drive. I go, I'll be right back. I went down to the boat. I looked at the GPS tracks.
Cut it a little close to land.
Yeah, a little close to the rocks.
Honestly, global warming. Those weren't there before.
Yeah, right. But he got the first repair bill right out of the way.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that was a cool,
took the
5-6
the
grand.
sting out of ownership in the first 8 hours.
You know what? I suggest that everybody does that now. I'm looking back on it because
Right.
if you hit something, you blow out the lower end of the engine, it costs you, I don't remember, $6,000-$7,000. Like when you go to have to refuel it, it costs you, I don't know, $500 or $1,000 bucks.
Everything's cheap after that.
You're like,
Right.
You're
whatever.
welcome.
It's not a
Big deal.
lower end.
You're
Right.
welcome.
Right.
George,
been good
the
ever
ultimate
since.
salesman that he is to one of his close friends, asked me what my budget on a boat is.
Well, if you would have been not so cheap, you could have got one with a autopilot. We wouldn't have had those problems.
I know. We need to do
Or a captain.
Yeah, that probably would have been the
I
best.
thought I had Captain Snell on board at the time, but I didn't ask to see his insurance or his captain's license. That was my mistake.
The
but-
depth was reading fine. I honestly,
Yeah.
didn't know
I'm
there
sure it was the
rocks there.
boat's problem.
Damn, if it had autopilot,
It's never
it'd be good.
operator
Probably the
error.
damn windmills.
Yeah.
Blame it on the windmills.
Right.
Everybody else does.
Yeah. Those sadly weren't there back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So George, tell us a little bit. I know you're in the mortgage business.
Yeah, so I a big part of my career. It's funny, when we became friends, we didn't know that, and I started telling you, and you're like, oh my God, this guy was in the same business, you know?
Yeah.
So I worked for Plymouth Savings Bank for a couple of years during a refinance crazy. My territory was Brockton, so I learned the hard way, doing 2 families and investment properties. And then I made friends with my local PMI rep, and she said, "Hey, we're looking for a new salesperson doing second mortgage, high LTV home equity loan insurance for banks and credit unions." So from that point, I left the bank and I went and worked for United Guarantee, which was a division of AIG. And I spent 6 or 7 years on the road selling high LTV home equity loans. And business was really good until it wasn't. But I learned a lot about sales and a lot about the insurance business and the MI business, which you guys know about, and the 80-10-10s and the 80-20s and 100% LTV. And it was an interesting time and a profitable, fun time for the family. I was gone a lot. 180 nights a year was my average on the road. But it was good, and I learned a lot about the business. And then things started changing in 2007, 8, 9, and the world ended. And
Let's talk about that,
Yeah.
right? Because I was around in those 07, 08, 09 days, and the world ended. Everybody's running out of the burning building. And I remember we're probably friends for 6 to 12 months and never knew you were in the mortgage business, right? So he starts talking to me about LTVs and DTIs, and I'm like, people that aren't in our business. Like, that's not
Right.
normal lingo. So then when we start talking, he's like, I learned a saying from him I'll never forget. He's like, oh, those are some of the best days of my life. Like, back up the Brinks truck every Friday afternoon, just drop off my check.
Right.
Because back then it was just people were making crazy money, but you had to work for it. And I was like, how did you know? Right? Because I was still new when he was pretty much almost probably exiting out of that business.
Right.
I was like, how did you know that was going to crash and that was going to happen like coming up? And I'm going to let you tell the story because it was amazing.
So our home office was in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is the mortgage insurance capital of the world, the second mortgage capital of the world, mortgage insurance capital of the world. And there's like four or five MI companies there. And we had a big office right downtown Greensboro. And I think where my team was on like the 3rd floor, and the claims office was up on the top floor. And I never went up to claims because we never really had any issues. Times were good. LTVs were hanging in there. Values were hanging in there. People had jobs, no problems. And each of my customers had a claim here and there, and I'd go up there, once every couple months when I go to Greensboro. And then as I started to go upstairs to see them more, I'd walk down the hallways and all the claims officers, they're the guys that were in these doing the claims, on their desk was a small pile of manila folders, and the piles started getting bigger. And then in 2008, I walked up there one day and they were piled up in the hallways, and the claims were, you couldn't get in people's offices. And they're just sitting in there feverishly, like writing claims and paying out all these defaults on these high LTV home equity loans that we had insured against default. And unfortunately, they were all defaulting. So it just started. It started with the loss of jobs, the real estate values that were highly inflated. Yeah. And then people just started really, some of my customers, I'd go to them and pick up paper and keys. And they'd say, Mr. Jones has defaulted on his loan, and he came in here and he gave us the keys to his house. And then we became, it was AIG, and they were insuring the world. So that really took a painful turn for AIG at the time too, because, the whole insurance business revolves around reinsurance, right? So you might have home insurance or car insurance or boat insurance. Well, that's reinsured by somebody 3 or 4 times on the back end, right? And they were feeling the pain, and it was tough times. And we were talking about major players, like Wells Fargo and Bank of America. And, I had all the regional accounts in New England, but some of the national accounts were, it was pretty tough times.
Hopefully we don't go back to those times. Those weren't the best days in the real estate, mortgage, just the U.S. economy was kind of a tough spot to
I think the real estate, I'm not an economist, obviously, but I think, the whole real estate market has changed so much, and the values and the appraisal business too. That the whole appraisal world back then, and I can't even get into all the things that were happening, but as it's become a lot more subjective and a lot more, spin the wheel kind of thing, and in that appraiser that shows up is who you have to use.
Yeah, I think technology also plays a big piece. I mean, now you can go online and
Get a
ballpark a house
value.
within $50,000, right? Depending upon if the kitchen's been updated,
Right.
maybe they missed that.
You can't call your buddy anymore and be like, "Hey, we need 500
Yeah,
on this
right,
house,"
exactly. And we weren't doing that, but I knew that
people
you
were,
you
yeah.
come through and you had 700 credit, and you were employed for 12 months, and your house was worth X. You were approved.
Amped.
Yeah, and you could buy a house for 100% LTV. You get an 80-10-10 or an 80-20. People didn't have any skin in the game whatsoever.
Yeah.
So they had no problem with saying, "Here's the keys, see you later," because that's what was happening.
Bought
And-
the house for 500, now it's worth 350. I'll hand you my keys.
right,
Start over.
right, exactly. So no, it was interesting times. Learned a lot, but you also learned about taking care of your customers at the same time. And you had to go into these credit unions and banks and sell them this process, which was risky on everyone's part. And they would, it was a long sales process. You didn't just walk in and say, "Hey, we're going to insure these home equity loans." And it's a lot, sales is sales, right? I keep saying that, but it's always the same in your business, my business now, the business I was in. You got to take care of the customer. You got to be quick to turn things around. You got to be detail orientated, and you got to treat people like they want to be treated, right? At the end of the day, like when I took you down to see your boat, like it was just kind of like selling something to a friend. You don't sell them hard. Just show them the product, show them what you have, show them all the benefits. Like if you in the mortgage business, you show them the benefits of the house, the rate, the service you're going to give them. It's the same thing in the boat business, And then we take care of them after the fact too, because I get phone calls from people all the time on the boats that I sold boats to 3 years ago, and they're asking me about registration, or they're asking me about how to fix a latch, and if you don't answer them, you don't keep the relationship open.
Yeah, that's a big part of business for sure. We get that all the time on our side. Questions about taxes, escrow, things like that. That once we close, we're not really involved in that anymore. But you sit through, you walk on people come into the office, show them, log in, help them do it.
Right.
Because if
Right.
not,
You build a customer for life too,
and they
right?
refer you people because you help them, and not everybody understands the whole process. Not everybody knows how to drive a boat.
Right.
Coming from the guy who's the
Who
only
was
person
driving
who's
that
crashed
day?
it.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
For the record, my boat has
I didn't
had
buy a boat.
2 incidences max, and neither of them have been me driving the boat.
What was the other
Full
one?
disclosure. I let somebody else borrow my boat, and I think they ran something over and cracked the engine cover.
Right.
So dealing with that right now, trying to get that all replaced.
Did you get right into boats after 2008?
No, so I had a little stint where my wife and I started a small business because we got laid off in March of 2008. It was one phone call to 27 salespeople across the country and said, "Sorry, we're closing up. We're not writing insurance anymore. No more jobs for you sales guys." So I had, I think, 3 or 4.5 kids at the time. And, we had a mortgage, we had everything going on. And, Jill said to me, like, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" She was in there on the call with me because I said, "Come in here and listen." And I knew it was coming. And she was obviously shocked. And she said, "What are we going to do? You just got another job in the mortgage business or the finance business?"
That wasn't the time to find
I'm like,
another job.
those jobs don't exist, So we got into my friend, a mutual friend of ours, owned a snowshoe company, and I just went on the road selling snowshoes, outdoor gear. I went to all these outdoor retailer shows, and I found companies that needed salespeople because in the outdoor business, they use manufacturers' reps. They don't use salespeople that they have full time. They use groups of people that will sell their brand along with 4 or 5 other brands.
Yeah.
So I went to the bike show, and I went to the clothing show and the outdoor product show with him. And I wandered around and said, "Hey, I'm a new sales guy. I've started a rep group." And I had like 5 or 6 brands that Jill and I sold. And, it was good. It supported the family for a while, and then one of my buddies said to me, "What are you doing? What are you gonna And he'd always been on me about getting in the boat business because I was a boater and I was a sales guy. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, now's the time, man. Times are good. You should get into it. And ironically, he's been doing it for 30 years. He's a good friend of mine. I've been friends with him for 20 years. He sold me my first boat.
Awesome.
And I ended up working for probably the largest outfit in New England right out of the gate with no, boat or yacht sales experience other than being able to sell, right? And being a boater, right? And being around it for my entire life. So I was really lucky because who I work for is a really big outfit. We have all the top brands in New England, some of the best brands in the country.
You guys are one of the only distributors for Regulator,
right? So
right?
In New England, we're the Regulator dealer for New England. We sell Regulator, Viking, Princess, Valhalla, Everglades. We sell the best brands in the sport fishing world and as well as the cruising world in New England. And to get that job, I was really lucky because the guys that had been there, they've been there for 20 or 30 years, and I was kind of one of the last new guys that they brought on, and they wanted an office in Marion, or they wanted an office on the South Coast. And I said, well, I live in Marion or Mattapoisett. And they're like, well, if you can find a place, we'll set you up down there. And I think we're going on year 7, and it's been great. I'm a one-man band there, but it's been really good, and we're lucky, and we're the largest Regulator dealer in the country. We sell the most Regulators out of anyone in the country, just in New England. So it's a tried and true brand for New England. It's a good brand.
I'm glad you're at Oyster Harbor Marines and your office is in Marion because George, being a full service friend and colleague and selling me my boat, was able to put me right into the marina. I didn't have to go searching where I was going to put the boat, if I was going to trailer it. Took care of all that stuff. So. On that, like you kept bringing up sales, and sales are the same. I don't believe we're selling anything, right? I feel like I've never sold a mortgage in my life. If somebody wants to buy a house, they're going to buy a house, and my job is to deliver the money in an effective, timely manner. You didn't sell me my boat. You showed me and it educated me throughout that process and advised me, right? I mean, like they call us salespeople all the time, and
no one wants to be sold anything, right?
No, I mean, like you're just so laid back.
Than anything.
Like, I mean, I look at you as like, not from being friends, but like from buying a boat. Like my experience was as solid as it could possibly get. And that's like what we try to deliver at Milestone. You just said, hey, here's your options. This is where you want to be. This is your price point. Oh, by the way, your price point, can double if you take out a loan. Like, hey, it's a small monthly payment. You don't need to put all that cash down.
Right. Well, I wanted to save your principal.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to let you do other things.
But you showed me some different options, and you were really an advisor in that sense. And I think anybody, and I'm not trying to, promote anybody, but anybody looking to buy a boat, you don't want to be sold, right? Like, no matter what your budget is, $50,000 or $5 million. I mean, actually saying that out loud, what's the most expensive boat you've ever sold?
Literally,
probably a Princess, which was like 2.8. 2.9.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Those are rookie numbers. We got to up that.
Yeah.
You got to up the game. Up the game.
Well, Vern's due for a new boat.
So. Hey, don't worry. It's just a payment, guys.
That one better come with a captain.
Right. Exactly.
No.
Yeah, as long as
he'll tell me, don't worry about it. This one got a joystick for you. Crash. Right. It'll be looking like
we'll get a captain for you. It's right. And they're toys, right? And it actually is shocking to me when I got in this business how many people buy new boats, because every boat I've ever owned was a boat that I bought from someone else. It was a used boat, right? And it was just amazing to me that there's a huge percentage of people that buy brand new boats from me every 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
And there's a lot of, so we sell some great brands that don't depreciate, but boats do depreciate, except when COVID was happening, there was appreciation in the market. But
I bought mine before COVID.
Right, yeah.
2 months
disclaimer.
As he looks at a great time to buy a boat.
I was like, wasn't that right around then?
But it's just amazing to me that how many people, and it's great. I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying it's just shocking to me that there's a lot of people out there that want a brand new boat, shiny, never been used, just by them. And that's a a huge percentage of our business. We do a ton of brokerage business as well too, because we're always, just like in the real estate business, you can come to me as a buyer's broker and I can go out and look for a boat for you, right? And I can represent you looking for anything you want, and nationwide or worldwide. Like we do deals all over the place. Wow. So if you said to me, hey, I want this boat, this price point, XXX, we have an MLS system, just like the real estate world, and we can co-broke with other brokers, on their boats. So there's a lot to it, and we spend a lot of time doing that. We spend a lot of time doing the boat shows, going for the manufacturers. We have to go to Miami next week, and each of us out of our team will be with each manufacturers at their booth to represent New England. So if someone comes in the booth from New England, that's when we can talk to them. But the used boat business is a whole nother part of our job that we spend a lot of time searching for people. I have a list of people that are always searching for some certain type of boat that they want. And if we find it, that's when we can move forward.
How often are you on the road now for these
A
boat
lot.
shows?
A lot. It's a lot. It's probably not as much as the old AIG days or the mortgage insurance business days, but it's a lot. And the funny thing is, a lot of people say to me, oh, it's wintertime, you must be slow. Well, this is the time. If you're not busy in the winter, you're not delivering boats in the spring. So we spend our whole winters between the Lauderdale Boat Show, the Miami Boat Show, the Palm Beach Boat Show, the Stewart Boat Show, a little bit of there's some stuff in Connecticut, there's Newport, there's Boston. So we have to do all those shows, and then we also have to, try to, be busy in the summertime, which is also another time we're doing deliveries, and then we're training people and we're trying to help them get those boats going, and they're boats, so they have issues here and there. So it's a full-time 100%, concierge, sales, customer service. It's a lot, but it's fun. It keeps you busy, keeps you out of trouble.
I think Craig needs a boat.
Yeah, well, everyone needs a boat.
I think
everyone needs a boat.
It's just another payment.
Right.
Right?
Right. And you guys do home equity loans, right? I mean, you can
pull cash out and pay cash for it.
Yeah, of course.
Easier for George to negotiate. It's like buying a house.
Right. Exactly.
Trying to get a golf cart, not a boat.
Yeah.
I like boats, but I just think I don't.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
Two hobbies like that. Golf and boating don't really go hand in hand.
Every day it's good to go on the boat is a good day to play golf.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's tough. I mean, our time to use these things are only
very limited in New England.
Which is mind-blowing to me that so many people buy new boats or such expensive boats in this area when the season is so short.
Right.
Right. Speaking of that, I mean, like you just brought up time. It just goes, hand in hand. George might be the only man that ever comes on Mortgage Daddies that has more children than you do. So, George, how many kids do you have?
I think 6.
I think 6. There might be an extra one floating around. He's got an extra room. It might be hiding in the basement. He doesn't know about.
Yeah. Two older boys, 25 and 23. And then they're off working, and one in New York and one in Colorado. They graduated college and they're paying their own way, which is nice. And then four little ones at home, still in grade school, and actually one in high school, the other 3 in grade school.
So you got them ranging from like what 8, 9 to 25.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I used to say when my buddies would ask me, I said, I have everything from condoms to diapers and everything in between.
You never have to give anything away.
That's right.
Always reusing the old boots, the old
exactly.
coats.
Oh my God! We have like a retail store downstairs for every size child. If they
every year they go to the closet, pick up their next year's.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, "Oh, this stuff's out of style." I'm like, "Well, that's too bad. You're wearing it because it was cool back when Patrick and Seamus were little, so it's cool now."
Dude, it's awesome. We go up to like his house. He's got a house in Vermont. We'll go up 4-wheeling, snowmobiling, just kid sledding. Like, shit, I forgot a coat. He just opens up these like 3 big like bifold doors, and there's got to be 60 jackets in there, drawers just filled with gloves and hats. The fun part is finding the matching one.
Right.
That's the game.
Right.
You just sit there and go through it, but yeah, that's wild, man, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's good. Jill works hard at it, and it's but we always said like after 2. you're outnumbered after 2. So after 2, it's just a logistics game, right? You got to keep them alive. You got to keep them fed. And you just got to keep all these balls in the air, right?
Yeah.
And I think, it is crazy, and people look at from the outside at, having 6 kids is, like, oh my God, how do you do it? And you just do it, right?
Yeah.
You just figure it out and you juggle it and you make it happen. And they all thrive off of each other. Like little Liam, who's the baby, right? He's grown up in the pack, right? And he's got a vocabulary and a mindset and an attitude that he should have of the 13-year-old, but he's,
That's what his brothers and sisters taught him,
exactly. And he can handle himself, and he can clean up after himself, and he's a great kid, and they're all great kids.
It makes me want to have 6 kids, like seeing you and Jill. You guys done a great job raising the kids. Seamus works with us here at Milestone, and Patrick's super successful. And the other ones are successful in their own way in high school and middle school. But damn, 6 kids, and they're all really good kids and well respected, and they're just
it's a lot.
well behaved kids. I mean, they're still kids. They still have some
they're
fun,
still
right?
kids, and they have all their kids stuff. But at the end of the day, they're all really good, and they're happy, and they're healthy, and they're figuring it out, and they're doing a good job. So
I mean, I haven't heard all the stories about your older kids, like growing up. I'm not looking forward to my kids being teenage, 18 to 25. But after getting to know you and your family, and I can't wait to see little Liam.
Right.
At like that 16 to 22, I think that's where they're going to give George and Jill the real run, because he's got a little savage in him. He's got a little personality edge.
Right.
He's
But at that point, he'll be pushing me around in a wheelchair, so I won't be really able to say much other than go right, go left, So, but no, it's all good, and it's some days you feel really old, and some days you feel really young.
I think they keep you young, man.
Keeps you
You're
active.
looking great.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're
Thanks.
looking like $1 million coming
Thanks.
in here.
Thanks.
I mean, I think
I've
I
been
have more
trying.
gray hair than you do. I had to get it all shaved off yesterday. Looking
Well, the
fresh.
past episodes I've watched have been really, a lot of them have been focused on hair. I was interested to see those.
You
you
got
had
a
a couple.
special haircut for
Well, I got my hair trimmed, but I mean, there was the couple episodes that I watched.
Some back to backs.
Yeah, back to back. The guy that works here,
Steve.
Steve, just Steve Carell,
Conan O'Brien looked like.
Yeah, right. He's got a really nice head of hair, and then after
Fabio.
that, exactly.
Fabio's got a whole routine.
Right.
And then
he
you hear
explained the routine. It was pretty interesting on the podcast.
Then you hear the
bet
routine
you.
about hairspray and blow dryers.
Right.
I'm almost a 46-year-old man. I don't remember ever spending more than, if I spend 60 seconds ever doing my hair, that's a long
it's
time.
all a thing.
Right.
It's gel, tutu, and I'm running out of my
Yeah.
house.
So I went. I bought a townhouse down in Florida, and a couple weeks ago was the first time I went down there. So I'm like, I'm gonna just like order some stuff, send it down, so I don't have to like carry a lot of stuff
of
down
course.
there. And one of the things was a blow dryer. I was like, I have to get a blow dryer. This just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so you get down there, and of course the one thing they like just everything like toothpaste, deodorant, body wash,
Right.
all shows up to the house. Open up all the boxes. I'm like,
No hair dryer.
where the hell is this hair dryer? Looking all around, check my Amazon order. Not coming until Friday. That's 2 days.
Right.
I can't do that. Had to DoorDash another hair dryer. Now I got two. Now I got 2 down there.
2025.
Just in case
Right.
one breaks, you always gotta have backup.
Right.
It's not
No, I've
easy.
never had I always just tell the barber, I go in and I say, just leave enough for me to comb over with my hand, and if I have a comb, that's a bonus.
I don't even use a comb.
Right.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
sure.
It's-
Right.
I don't even really use a comb much either. It's more fingers.
Mine's don't look very gnarly too. It's very curly, so it's.
I would love to see you some long hair.
I might have just told Eli yesterday I was getting my hair cut. I've seen Eli, I don't even know, long time. And I was like, you know what? Next time I come in, I want you to mix it up. Like maybe like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being wild. I'm not
Right.
trying to go there. Right now I'm at like a 2 in my wild book. This is a 2.
Yeah.
I'll take it up to like a 5.
Right.
So Eli, if you're watching, I don't want a mohawk. Like I
Right.
already know where he's going down with this. And
I think you should grow it out though. Like a mullet would look really good on you. Like long, party in the back, business in the front kind of deal. Whatever they say. I like that.
Oh God.
That would
I think
be
you
good.
should go a year without cutting the top.
Yeah.
Just trim
I
the
had
sides.
I had a fro in high school.
Is that what that turns
It
into?
turns into a very nappy fro. So
Kids pay big money to get their hair curled like that right now.
Oh,
think we could-
the teenage boys are getting
Perms.
perms.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to think that like a 50-year-old man's getting a perm. No, it's just
I
all
think it would
natural.
look great. You should definitely do it.
Ringlet curls. That would be great on you. Yeah.
I wish I never said this on this episode. I
I'm
should
gonna
throw that
attack
out
it.
into
I'm
the
gonna
world.
bribe Eli not to ever cut the top now again.
He's not cutting the top, I don't think, next time. So
I know.
it's a little trim.
Whole 3/4 of an inch.
I get my hair cut every 2 weeks, so worst case scenario, I'll look
Right.
like.
I wish I'd never brought up this hair thing. But
It comes up a lot.
It's amazing. Go on Mortgage Days and talk about your hair products,
Right.
blow dryers. It's nuts to me.
right. So tell me about what's going on in the mortgage business these days. How's the rates? How's the temperature?
Yeah, I mean the rates are amazing. I mean we're
It's always a
hanging
great
out.
time to buy.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Never a bad time to buy. I mean, obviously refinance transactions are down right now just because of the market, but you know, there's still a handful of refis out there. I mean, people divorce, people pass, so there's always family
Life
members taking
changes.
it over.
Yeah.
Like the life changes, those refinances are out there. But you know, we're just preparing for the next wave.
Right.
You know, with the market the way it is right now, it's just going to hit us like COVID did, right? Like,
Right.
You're just going to wake up. There's not going to be this like 12 months. I don't believe so. I'm
Right.
not an economist, but
Right.
I don't think we're going to have a slow play into it. I think, you know, you're going to wake up in a matter of like 2 weeks. You know, the rates are going to drop. We don't need them to drop from where they are at 6.5 now to
Right.
4. We need
Right.
them to go from 6.5 to 5.875. And the refinances are going to go bananas, right? Because people can save a couple $100, $200, $400, $500 a month on their mortgage just by doing that. Or what I really think you're going to see is people downsizing homes. I feel like over the last 3 years, two to 3 years, people are staying in their mortgages because they have 3% or they
Right.
have 3.5%. Now, if they can get to that 5.75, they're going to downsize. Or the growing family that had 1 kid 4 years ago and they bought a house now have 2, they have 3. They've grown out of their house, but their mortgage is very, the rate's at 3.5%, and they can't really fathom going up. But I think once we hit those 5s, I think you're going to see a lot more property on the market, from sellers. You're going to have a lot of buyers coming out of the woodwork. And more importantly, for us, refinances, which are going to free up, the homeowner of having more cash flow in their house
Right.
to spend on more goods and services out there. So I think it's really going to kind of help out the economy. I mean, I know real estate usually leads that way. And
Right.
we had the Fed meeting yesterday,
think
and they didn't change the rates. But
You'll see a lot of people too pulling money out of their houses
Yeah.
because they're sitting at 2, 3, 4%. They don't want to go to 7 to pull
Right. So
money
let's
out.
let's put an addition on.
Yeah,
Let's put
or pay off debt that they've
Right.
accumulated over the
Right.
last couple of years. So you know
Right.
if they can pull out, if they can refinance their house,
Buy
and
a
go
boat.
from.
I was just
buy
going
a
to say,
boat,
just go buy a boat. Pull
Right.
out 50 grand
Right.
as a down payment on
Right.
that new $5 million.
I mean,
boat.
our lenders that do the marine financing, they're all 6 to 8%. They're it's not crazy, but
No.
it's obviously higher than it was. But still, people, I would say that probably 25% of my customers finance.
Yeah.
What's the
and
terms on boats?
depends on the loan amount and
Yeah.
depends on there's some underwriting that
Based off a year of the boat.
yeah, the year of the boat, the purchase price, the borrower, but you can go from 10 to 15 years on a boat.
Yes.
So they can stretch them out pretty well because in our business, the boats that we sell, they're not car payment boats. These are mortgage payment boats.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
These are big numbers. When you go to the boat show, like in Boston, we might sell 6 boats at that show when somebody else sells 16, but they're selling a $399 boat payment, like a little buzz around boat or something like for the lake or but then when you get into a $600,000 Valhalla or a regulator,
It's $3,000
10 to
payment.
20% down, you're talking big numbers. And
Yeah.
then, you amortize that over whatever the term is. It's a big number, right?
Why
for,
do you
for a boat.
Why do you think that the boats don't depreciate as much?
Well, so the brands don't depreciate, right? There's top brands out there, Regulator being one of them, Everglades, Viking, Valhalla, and we're lucky to have those, right? And then there's like Grady White and there's Boston Whaler. Those are like the Campbell soup of boats, right? Everybody knows. Some people say, I have a Grady. They don't say like I have a boat, I have a Grady. They should use that. It's like say give me Kleenex, right?
Yeah.
Don't give me a tissue, give me a Kleenex. They use that brand. So there's those top brands that don't appreciate like others, but you have to pay for that right out of the gate. It's kind of like same in real estate, right? You buy a bad house or a bad location, the value location, right? Yeah. And it's all about in our business is about the brands. And yes, they depreciate because they are a depreciating asset, but at the end
not
of the
at
day,
the rate of a car.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is if we sell a regulator, there's always I have a list of people that want regulators. I want this year, this month, and there's always somebody to buy those boats. Not as much as there used to be because our business has slowed down as well too. Yeah. But there's still a list of people out there that want that brand. It's like a Mercedes versus
and they're not making a million of them.
Right,
like,
exactly.
You can only make so many boats.
Right. That's the thing. There's a limited amount that they build, and when we order them, we order a lot of boats for inventory. So we have a lot in Osterville where we have it's sometimes $20 to $30 million worth of inventory sitting on the ground. So we buy a lot of boats from our manufacturers, and we have a white one, a gray one, and a blue one, and then we have different sizes, and usually we obviously try to sell the ones we have on the lot, but sometimes people order them, and they can order them, and they build them for them, and we deliver them and ship them. And
how long does it take them to build a boat?
So it depends.
On the one.
It depends because we have build slots available. So when you're going to call me and say, hey, I want to order a blue 28 regulator, it should take 3 to 6 months, depending on where that boat is and how many boats are ahead of it. Because they have a production line. Those are built in North Carolina, a monster facility with lines of boats. But if we have a boat in line that hasn't been painted yet or hasn't, we have a build slot,
you can change it to what
we can change it,
yeah.
right? So sometimes I can say to you, hey, I'll have that boat for you next month, or sometimes, but usually for a center console, we're like 3 to 6 months. Bigger boats like a Viking, those we may be 12th in line for a 65 or, a 72. So we have to wait for those to get through the production. So you could be 2 years, right? Waiting because you came in after the other 12 guys ahead of you.
Yep.
So every boat's different to build. The Princess yachts get built over in England and they get shipped over to us on a ship. So that can be, the recent one that I sold had already been in production, and he grabbed that slot, so he had it in under a year. But it could be 2 or 3 years waiting for that boat to be built and shipped.
Craig, I think you should really start looking at a Princess, right? Like, there's bedrooms, boats come in all shapes and sizes.
If I did get a boat, I would want one that you could sleep on,
right?
And,
like
and
a yacht,
time
like
on.
a 72-foot.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
Princess.
Anything less than 75. What's the point?
What is a 72-foot Princess?
5, 6, 7.
You put it in now. You have 2 years to wait for production. By the time that
and
all
we can
comes up,
finance it. So
the kids will be out. The kids will be out a little bit older.
Perfect.
You'll be able to take it out around here, 3 or 4 times a year. It'll be nice for you. You don't have anything else to do.
And a lot of times, our customers, they never come out of the water. They go from here to Florida. They spend the winter in Florida and they come back. So it's a full-time thing. They use them to go down and spend the winter in Florida
awesome.
or the Bahamas or wherever.
Better than an RV.
Yeah. Right.
That's good for a retirement. Like you're in your late 50s.
Yeah.
I'll put my order
60s.
in 25, 30
Yeah,
years.
and it's like after COVID, a lot of people also started working from their boats, working from home, because we have now we have Starlink, we have this internet that's everywhere. So they have we put Starlink in center consoles now. So they can go out offshore fishing on a 30, 40-foot boat and have
put the backdrop behind
everything.
and pretend they're on Zoom in the office, like all those
Yeah.
TikToks where they're on the golf cart,
right.
pretending they're in
They
the
have
office.
emails and you can watch the Celtics play on your screen, or you can.
I need to step up my boat game.
I know,
Yeah,
seriously.
you don't even have
I need to
Starlink.
watch TV
Right.
on my boat when I'm out there for the 2 hours at a time.
The glare off the sun might be a little tough.
Right, but imagine being able to pre-approve loans from Stellwagen Bank.
Yeah, you
that'd
need
be
to get
awesome.
a Princess or a big Princess.
No.
You need to upgrade. Come on.
No.
We can find you a used one.
I need to find a
something cheap.
used captain to drive that thing before I buy it. You guys crazy?
Yeah.
What's I was just thinking about you're going through this, and I'm like, this guy really builds the relationships, because a lot of the guys, the people that I've met through you and a lot of your friends, they've all bought boats from you.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. Like,
So it's like in your business, right? The first thing you do when you're in the mortgage business is you refinance your friends, your family members, and some of your enemies too, right? But at the end of the day, you want to have that circle of people. You want to take care of them, right? You want to do that, because if you can't go and sell them all boats, that should be easy, right?
yeah.
And then that circle grows, right? And it's just the same in your business and same in real estate and boat business. It's just, hey, you tell somebody George took care of you, like I tell somebody, hey, Vern took care of my mortgage for me, like, and then it's all about referrals, right? And it's all about just growing that spider web. And you want to be the boat guy in Marion.
I swear you're the boat guy. Like, every person I talk to, I don't know if it's just because I know a lot of the same people you do. I'm like, oh yeah, George, like the boat guy. Like, everybody knows who George is. Like, before I met you, I didn't even know there was such thing as the boat guy. Right? I didn't even know where you would go other than you're like,
Should be the
type in buy boat online, right? And you're like on boat US.
Right.
But other than that,
But
That's
it's
the
like,
title
but
of the
it's
podcast, the boat guy.
yeah, the boat guy. But don't
That's a good
forget,
idea.
like in your world, my world, everyone has, or they should, as you probably tell guys that work for you or new guys, everyone should have an accountant, everyone should have a mortgage banker, everyone should have a realtor, and everyone should have a boat broker, right? If you're interested in boats, right?
Yeah.
And that's your group of people that you can take care of everything in your world with, that you want to have a house, you want to have a boat,
Now, the last thing I want to ask you on this is, I think with boating, it's one of those things where people get into boating because they were already in boating, their parents or friend or whoever.
Right.
The people who are maybe interested in getting into boating, but they're afraid that I don't know how to run a boat, I don't know where to go.
Right.
Like, are there ways that people can take?
So I always, and a lot of times I'll probably lose deals over telling them, why don't you go and join one of these boat clubs for a little while? Because we get a lot of customers from that, because there's people who move to Dartmouth or move to Marion or move to somewhere where there's water, and everyone has a boat except for them. Not really, but the boating is an important thing, right? And they want to get into it. And I've sold people boats that buy a boat and go, I didn't know what I was getting into. But then we help them, we train them, and I spend a lot of time. I spend probably a lot of my time with people who buy. No, I don't mean a new boat, but a new boat to them.
Yeah.
New to boating.
New
I
boater.
spend a lot of time, just like I did with you that day, showing
17
them how
minutes,
to.
by the way. 17
Showing how
minutes.
to. Well,
And then
I
Craig
knew
showed
that
me
you
the
were
rest.
going to be covered with Craig,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
But we spend a lot of time helping them and learning, or teaching. But it's important to spend some time with your friends or family that might have boats and really learn what it's all about, because there's a lot more to it than just jumping in, turning the key, and going. There's a lot of expense. There's a lot of responsibility. You can hurt people.
Just from the safety side of things that I've learned
There's tons,
since I've owned
right?
a boat.
There's tons, and like, you don't realize this doesn't handle like a car, right? It's not. It doesn't stop when you
Speed
want
kills.
to. Yeah, speed kills.
First thing you said to me,
Yeah,
speed kills.
right. Trying to
Slow
get
and
to the
steady.
dock. Go as
Hit
slow
the dock
as you want
very
to hit
slow.
the dock.
Do
Right.
not put it in gear.
Right. Go as fast here as you want to hit that dock, because that's what it's going to be, But it is, like, I always tell people, if they're kind of unsure, because I talk to people all the time, they call me, hey, John called me, he told me to call you to buy a boat. And I'm like, what's your experience? Where are you going to be boating? I don't want to just sell them a boat and check it off. I want to ask them about what they're going to be doing with it, because he's like, well, I want to buy a 19-foot boat. I have a family of 6 and 3 dogs, and we want to go to Nantucket. And I go, that's not going to work, right? And I go, why don't you start off with a small boat and mess around locally, and then down the road, I'll be your guy down the road. Like, I don't need the deal right this second. I want you to learn, and I want you to be comfortable, because there's people who get these boats and aren't comfortable and get hurt or get spoiled or get soured, and they say, well, the boating isn't for me. Well, it's because you had the wrong boat, right? Or you had the wrong expectation of what you're trying to do with that boat. So the rental thing is really good for people just to get started and have a summer of that, and then they can work their way into it.
And they have that around here?
Yeah, they have. I think they have one in Dartmouth. They have a bunch of them on the Cape. And it's like a service where you pay a fee, and then you go on your app and you say, I want the boat on Tuesday from 10 to 12, and go on. You walk down, the boat's ready to go, and it's a good experience for people to learn how to, and then you don't have to have a lot of the expense, and you don't have to deal with what am I supposed to do this winter to the boat, and they take care of it. And you show up again. It might talk me out of some deals, but at the end of the day,
Yeah, you're doing what's right for them.
yeah, you do what's right for people because you.
All I can say to all of this is just buy your boat from George, because I've never had to worry about what I'm doing in the winter, where I'm going to put it.
We help you.
I think I put gas in my boat.
That marina
twice.
that you're at is pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm at Barden's and Marion,
Yeah.
and they're really good, and we have a good relationship with them. I just rent space from them, but I was a customer for 20 years before I got the office there, and they've just been really good.
No.
They've been helpful.
Cheryl, Chad, their team
Yeah.
over there. Like, I was new to boating, still consider myself new to boating, and I can ask them any question. They'll more than happy to answer it. They're awesome. They're
Right.
super.
And that's an important part. Like at Oyster Harbors, we service probably 400 or 500 boats in our location in Osterville, and you have a service rep that handles everything. You talk to one person, they take care of you. They give you a list of everything that needs to be done. They walk you from beginning to end in the whole boat. Maintenance and service kind of plan when you have a new boat or any kind of boat there in Osterville. So.
Well, George, man, it was a pleasure having you on
Yeah, it was
here.
fun. Thanks.
I
was
think
fun.
anyone now is going to totally call the boat guy.
Yeah, the boat
You
guy.
almost talked me into buying a boat, but it'll take another episode or two maybe down the line.
Get them back next week.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah.
a deposit
Yeah.
on the Princess.
Right.
Maybe go get a couple t-shirts.
Vern, maybe
I'll
we
buy
can
one.
sell him your boat and we'll get you another boat.
Whoa, no. I already see where this is going. No.
I don't want that dinghy. I don't want 75
You
foot.
need somebody with a captain.
That's right.
I saw him
right.
drive my 25 footer. Can you imagine him on a 72?
Yeah.
Global warming.
Yeah. Twin diesels.
Yeah. I need to go.
Coming right out of the harbor.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Yeah. What's that movie? You scratched my anchor. What's that?
That's definitely going to be
Yeah.
it. Well, thanks for coming on,
Hey,
man.
thanks
It's
for
been
having
awesome.
me. It's good.
Yeah, of course.
Till next time.